Hey, it's Kyle here, and I just finished reading a great sci-fi series that I wanted to encourage everybody to read and check out. It is John Scalzi's Old Man's War series. There is 6 books. The first, where the name obviously comes from, is Old Man's War. Then you have the Ghost Brigades, The Last Colony, Zoe's Tale, The Human Division, and lastly, The End of All Things. It's a great sci-fi series. John Scalzi has quickly become one of my favorite authors in recent years. He has a great sense of humor. His books are all very funny, but at the same time, they have a serious element to it. He just does a good job of breaking up with humor. His characters are very well developed. I think he does an excellent job of having like flawed characters, but at the same time, you see the strengths they have that kind of tie into the plot. But he doesn't have any like superhero like character that's just absolutely perfect. That some books have that you're like, this is just not realistic. Everybody has something bad about them or something they're not good at, some drawback. And Scalzi does a good thing of showing like his characters are human. They're really flushed out. They have positives and they have negatives. But the great thing I really enjoyed about this series was the world building Scalzi set up and this very interesting concept he explored. Basically, the idea is, and this kind of part of it's kind of explored in the first book, is basically humanity has made it into space and has started to colonize other planets. And this organization has been set up called the Colonial Defense Force that's basically overseeing humanity's efforts to colonize the stars. Kind of think of almost like a military version of the United Nations. So instead of like the U.S. going one way and China going another way and Europe going another way, all of humanity's resources are pulled into this one group to kind of colonize space. At the same time, one reason why this military force has been set up, humanity has discovered there are other alien species out there that are also trying to colonize space. And it turns out there's not that many planets that life can succeed on, and all the species basically seem to have the same needs for planets they want to live on. So basically all these groups are competing over planets for them to establish their own colonies on. So the Colonial Defense Force that kind of oversees this, establishing new colonies and defends existing colonies from other species. And where the title comes in from is the Colonial Defense Force recruits basically senior citizens from the Earth to join their forces. And the way it's kind of explained here on the back is the CDF doesn't want young people. They want people who carry the knowledge and skills of decades of living. You'll be taken off Earth, never to return. You'll serve 2 years in combat, and if you survive, you'll be given a homestead of your own, and you'll basically become a colonist. So that's where the title comes from, Old Man's War, because basically the army is composed of these older individuals. There is a plot twist very early on in the first book that I won't go into that explains this concept more. It's very interesting, and it really has a huge impact on the rest of the book. So I don't want to get too much into it. But basically the entire series explores the Colonial Defense Force and their efforts to establish new colonies for humanity, protect the ones they have, and defeat the alien forces they're fighting against. At the same time, it's explored how this impacts Earth and what its relationship is to these colonies that are being established. And also one thing I really like a lot is Scalzi also spends time exploring the alien species that humanity is competing against. Where a lot of times sci-fi books like this, the alien species are not really explored that much, and they're just, if they are, it's only through humanity's eyes. Where this one, there's parts of the book that are actually from the alien species point of view, and you actually begin to learn what their goals are, how they view humanity, which is very interesting. So if you're looking for an interesting sci-fi series to read, I would definitely recommend Old Man's War. Probably because Scalzi has such a great sense of humor and the plot is very interesting. At least for me, these books were very quick reads. It wasn't one of those books that I felt like, oh, it's going to take forever to read through this. Almost like one of, like a Lord of the Rings book. It's you have to delve through all this history. It can be a little bit of a slow read, but it's still interesting. Scalzi's is a lot much more quicker read. That sense of humor he has plays a big role in it. So I would definitely encourage you to read Old Man's Wars series. If you're a little hesitant about starting a series, if you've never read Scalzi before, I'd encourage you to read one of his standalone books. My favorite is Red Shirts. I absolutely love Red Shirts. It's just my favorite book of his. That I've read of his. So if read one of his standalone books like Red Shirts. I think if you do that, you'll be hooked by Scalzi and you'll be very interested to read his series, The Old Man's War. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any sci-fi series that you have read recently that you think I should check out, just let me know in the comment section below. I'm always looking for recommendations. Hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, that sort of good stuff. And I'll see you the next time. Happy reading.